Yeah, welcome. So today I'm going to show you my game against Elias van der Lende, a young Dutch international master, and we played in the Belgian league as one of the last preparatory games for this year's Bundesliga season. So I was playing the black pieces and my opponent opened with e4, to which I replied e5, and after knight f3 I play one of my pet lines, the Philidor. So my opponent played the most usual move, 3d4, after which my pet line is the so-called Antoshin variation of the Philidor, which starts with taking on d4, knight takes, knight f6, knight c3, and now the move bishop e7. So there are some other options like to play g6, for instance, but my main weapon here is the move bishop e7. And my opponent played the move bishop c4, after which I replied castles. In this position, the main move is castles, but after castles I have the option of taking on e4, knight takes e4, followed by d5, bishop d3, d takes e, bishop takes e4, and the game simplifies and black should be able to achieve equality. So my opponent didn't want to do that. Instead, he went for f3, which is a little bit of an unusual move. And I replied with c6. And now he played bishop e3. And actually now I thought to be in a preparation which I had many years ago, I think in 2003, when I was still playing chess much more than now. And I played d5. It turns out that the preparation I had was actually in this position after white plays a4, when d5 is pretty strong. And after e takes d, knight takes d5, white is already worse. So for instance, knight takes d5, c takes d5, bishop b3, and now I have a nice sequence of moves, bishop h4 check, and rook e8 check. And now white's king is exposed, and I'm just much better in this position. Okay, so instead I was actually in that position, and here, according to the machine, the best move is b5, but I still played d5. And it's quite interesting in the sense that I was thinking to be in my preparation, and I was confident that I'm better here, whereas actually the machine gives that I'm worse. Okay, he took. I took with a knight, which I thought to be my preparation. He took with a bishop. I took with a pawn, and he played the decent move queen d2, preparing long castles. So I still had this reasoning in my mind that I should be better here, and I was looking for the best move to prove that, and I thought, okay, I play knight c6, and if he castles, then at least I have a lot of play on the open c file, and the position is actually pretty unclear. So one option that he has here would be to play short castle, after which the game is just a normal quiet game, probably around equal. Instead, he went for the much more entertaining alternative, which is play first knight b3, forcing me to go bishop e6 to protect the pawn, and now he went long castle. And so the computer still gives this position as being a little bit better for white, but during the game I felt this should be good for black. And the main reason, at least practically good for black, the main reason for that is that black has very simple plays. So black can play along the c file, and okay, I have this isolated pawn, which might be a weakness on d5, but I can play along the c file, and therefore I can try to actually attack his king, whereas my king is really safe in this position. So I still believe that this position is much easier to play for black, although objectively it might be a little bit better for white. Okay, I played bishop b4 to protect the d5 pawn, so now the knight is pinned. He played a3. I used the opportunity to take that knight and played the move rook c8. So this already now prepares my play on the c file. It's already now clear that I will follow up at some point with moves like bishop f5 and then moving my knight, and the c2 pawn would be pretty weak in this case. So he played the most logical move, rook to e1, to which I replied with b6. So now it's already getting concrete. So if you make some careless move, let's say g4, then after knight a5 you would already be busted. So for instance, knight queen b3, knight takes, and d4. And so the line continues a little bit. For instance, queen a4, to which I can reply queen c7, so just one sample line. He would take here, and I would capture the bishop and get a winning position. Yeah, so instead, after b6, he replied with queen d2. And yeah, so this was a crucial moment for me, so I took some time here. And the move which I wanted to play is actually bishop f5. And what I saw in my calculation was that he can reply to this move with a very funny looking move, namely the move knight a1. And then I thought, well, in this case I probably have to go back because I have to protect the pawn. And in this case, then we get some kind of repetition, and I didn't want that. So that's the reason why I didn't play bishop f5, but I went for a different move, which is worse, which is queen h4, but which complicates matters. And after queen h4, so one reason I saw here for playing queen h4 was that I want to play queen c4 to also bring the queen to the c file. What he could do here is he could just go g4, which is the best move in the position. When I thought, okay, I play queen h3 and I get some counterplay, but this is actually not so clear. So I think after queen h3, if white plays the cool, calm and collected queen f2, then white should be better here. So white now has control over the center, and my bad move queen h4 would have been punished. The main thing that one has to see here is that knight e5 can always be met with knight d4, and therefore white would be a little bit better here. Okay, so instead, after queen h4, he chose to play the move bishop f4, which is clearly worse than the move g4, and now I played the move bishop f5 to again threaten to take on c2. Yeah, so if, for instance, now he were to play g4, then I can just take on c2, yeah, so for instance, after queen takes c2, I can play knight a5, and black is winning. Yeah, so I'm winning the queen. Okay, so after the move bishop f5, he decided to play c3, and this is of course a major concession. So in general, if you have bishops of opposite colors, what matters is the safety of the king in the middle game, and by playing c3, his king becomes really vulnerable along this diagonal from b1 to h7. And my bishop is now already on the perfect diagonal, and therefore I already felt like I'm almost winning here. I wanted to play rook d8, but unfortunately rook d8 in this position is not yet possible, because after rook d8 he's going to go bishop g5 and he's going to take off the rook, so therefore I could not really do that. So instead I went for the more quiet move h6 here to prepare rook d8, and yeah, I think my position looks very nice right now. My king is very safe and his king is very vulnerable along the c file. So he went for the move g4 to chase away my bishop, and my bishop moved back. Yeah, and already now it's very hard for me to suggest something to him, which would actually improve what he did in the game. One line that one has to calculate would be now queen takes d5, after which I have a lot of pleasant options. I could play rook d8 with a lot of counterplay, or I could directly go queen f2, which is also very unpleasant, because, for instance, after queen d2 I can take on f3, and now again white's position collapses. So He didn't go for queen d5. Instead, he went for bishop g3 to chase away my queen. But my queen actually now finds a very nice home on f6. And yeah, here he now blundered, but already the position is very difficult. So the computer gives queen e3 as the best move. And then I would have played rook fd8. And now, yeah, black is going to play d4 very soon. And unless you're a computer, the position was almost immediately going to collapse. So instead, he went for queen f4. And this would be a very nice time for you to actually pause the video and to try to find the final combination here. So black to move and win. Okay, so I hope you have paused the video and you came up with this very beautiful win here, which is knight to a5. So after knight to a5, if black takes on a5, white takes on a5, black can play rook takes c3, b takes c3 is queen takes c3 mate, and if the white king runs, the king is going to get crushed in the open, and white resigns. So therefore, after knight a5, one cannot take on a5, one can also not take on f6 because of this very beautiful mate, and white can therefore only play one move, which is knight to d4. So again, this would be a time to pause the video to find the final touch. Okay, so if you think the final touch is queen takes d4, you are actually very wrong. So you have again this beautiful idea of knight b3 mate. However, white can play rook takes d4 and make luft for the king. So after the check, white would play king d1 and black would resign. So it's never too late to go wrong. Nonetheless, the move is knight b3 check. And after knight b3 check, white is lost. So my opponent resigned because after white takes on c3, I take on c3. White plays king d2, rook c2 check, king e3, rook e8, and the king is going to get mated. And again, as before, if after rook takes c2, c3, white takes back, then I have this very beautiful mate. Okay, thanks for listening to this video. This was, of course, a very pleasant game for me to beat a pretty strong player with black pieces in only 25 moves.